it's important to also note that what music can do to the individual, it can do to their entire culture. And this is why, from philosophers to rulers, revolutionaries to network and marketing executives, Plato's observation in the Republic has been echoed time and again. When modes of music change, the fundamental laws of the state change with them. In another work, Plato could have been writing about our modern age when he stated, "Through foolishness they, the people, deceived themselves into thinking that there was no right or wrong in music, that it was to be judged good or bad by the pleasure it gave. As it was, the criterion was not music, but a reputation for promiscuous cleverness and a spirit of law-breaking." Plato's contemporary Aristotle, observing music's power to form character, to in some cases encourage self-control, while in others provoke abandonment, advised that music actually be regulated by the state. 18th century Scottish writer, orator, and parliamentarian Andrew Fletcher echoed Plato and Aristotle when he declared that, "If a man were permitted to make all the ballads, he need not care who should make the laws of a nation." A modern fulfillment of Fletcher's observation can be seen in the vast cultural changes that took place in America and much of the West during the 1960s.
Rock and roll was the beginning of the brand new world in terms of a generation bringing on its own consciousness through music to other generations.
So music was like the Pied Piper that led kids off the asphalt and out of the suburbs and into some other kind of reality.
Albert Goldman, pop culture analyst and best-selling author, goes so far as to call that decade's popular music the most important cultural event in the history of America.
It was like an earthquake. It just shook the whole country, and it cracked open the shell of what had been society before that, and outswarmed a whole new generation of freaks.
Leading these freaks were organizations like the Black Panthers, Students for a Democratic Society, and the Youth International Party, the Yippies, embracing not only communist ideology, but also the Marxist-Leninist credo that music was to be used as a weapon to achieve particular socio-political ends. Songs became the driving force of the revolution.
Point two is total assault on the culture by any means necessary, including rock and roll dope in the streets.
Jerry Rubin, co-founder of the Yippie movement and one of the infamous Chicago Seven, authored the bestseller Do It, a book that was called by its publisher, quote, "the Communist Manifesto of our era, a declaration of war between the generations, calling on kids to leave their homes, burn down their schools, and create a new society upon the ashes of the old."
See, we don't want to be responsible. We're irrational. We're irrational and crazy.
In a chapter titled Elvis Presley Killed Ike Eisenhower, Rubin described the spark that lit the fire of the revolution. The new left sprang from Elvis' gyrating pelvis. Hard animal rock energy beat surged hot through us, the driving rhythm arousing repressed passions. Rubin went on to observe the role technology rather ironically played in making this revolution possible. Affluent culture, by producing a car and a car radio for every middle-class home, gave Elvis a base for recruiting. While a car radio in the front seat rocked, young kids in the back seat were having sex to the hard rock beat. The back seat produced the sexual revolution, and the car radio was the medium for subversion. 30 years later, Rubin's communist revolution has largely been passed up in favor of rank, whatever makes you happy materialism.
Because everyone loves a twofer.
Bye, Teddy. Bye, cutie.
But music's influence has only become more powerful and more widespread. The low-fidelity car radio of the 60s has given place to digital technologies, surround sound and personal stereos. music television, TV commercials, movie soundtracks,
Soundtrack to the smash film.
video games, the internet, and a $9 billion a year industry that's with us when we wake up, as we drive, study, when we exercise, as we relax, shop, go out to eat, and finally as we go to sleep. And the result is a new type of revolutionary, one even more secure in music's power to influence individuals as well as shape the culture.
Music is really great. It can move, a large group of people. It can inspire and move a large group of people. Then revolution can happen.
There's more to Rage's music than meets the ear.
We are able to seduce some people in with the music who then are exposed to a different political message.
As Bob Pittman, founder and one-time president of MTV, once bragged, the strongest appeal you can make is emotionally. If you can get their emotions going, make them forget their logic, you've got them. At MTV, we don't shoot for the 14-year-olds, we own them.
It's MTV. Today you are a woman.
MTV. It's all part of growing up.
No one wants to feel like they're being influenced, and certainly not owned or controlled by anything that's outside their own rational decision-making minds. Yeah, maybe some of those idiots who hang out in front of Game World at the mall are being led around by their nose rings, but we'd like to think, not me. The simple, inescapable truth, however, is that you and I do become, to some degree, what we listen to and watch. In the same way that human biology dictates that if you live on a steady diet of junk food, you will eventually damage your body, the entertainments you feed upon, for good or ill, will affect your emotional and spiritual well-being. It's true that not everyone will be influenced in precisely the same way, or to the same degree, but like it or not, we will be influenced. Whether it's the manner in which music organizes thought patterns in the brain, or the mysterious spiritual power that has so fascinated artists like Hendrix, Morrison, Mickey Hart, and Tori Amos. Music truly does have enormous influence over its audience.
On my command, relinquish control. Give me your body. Surrender your soul. Submission is strongly suggested as the drum consumes your soul. The pounding sounds of percussion is all that you'll know.
Let's now close by examining the basic bottom line of this power over our souls and what we can do about it.
TJ, son, get it. What are you doing?
I'm just doing some programming.
Programming what, the computer or your brain?
What's that?
I've already drawn the analogy between food and entertainment, how what we bring into our bodies and minds affects the type of people we become. Perhaps an even better analogy, though, can be found here, in, of all things, A Broken Window. In his classic work, Thinking About Crime, renowned social scientist James Q. Wilson observed that disorder and crime are usually inextricably linked, that human behavior is profoundly affected by its environment. Broken windows, graffiti, drunkenness, and open displays of unfettered sexuality are an invitation for crime, a declaration that the environment is uncontrolled and uncontrollable, and that anyone can invade it to do whatever damage and mischief the mind suggests. Almost like clockwork, when this broken window effect is reversed and these elements are removed or suppressed within a community, crime rates plummet. An ordered and more dignified atmosphere encourages civility and moral behavior, while disorder breeds anarchy and immorality.
Hi, how you doing?